everyone. I don't have my VR mech out, but I'll get it out soon. So, anyways, we had Kasant here, or Kasuhunt, ask a question. As someone who hasn't played AC before, what should I expect, right? So, first things first, as you guys see here in this menu, is that one main thing you should expect about Armored Core, it is a heavy, well, obviously it's a mech game, but you're going to spend a lot of time in the custom room, or the shop as I am currently, right? You expect to spend a lot of time like customization. Like early on in a lot of RPGs, you can choose like, oh, in old Armored Cores you couldn't choose, you just got a default one and from there you go there. But Armored Core 4 started introducing that you can actually go with a light, medium, or heavyweight, not too different. But expect at the start you don't get a huge customization. They'll just give you whatever you have. You get to pick maybe from one of three options: light, medium, or heavy, and more or less you should know. If you're not positive, go with medium, and you can always adapt and change the parts to whatever you like fitting. But main thing I want to get is that expect to spend a lot of time looking at this crap. Now, I do have a video for anyone that wants it. I'll link it here, about how you can look at these numbers and simplified what you should pay attention to. But long story short is that once you do go watch it, you're just going to spend time on once you need to upgrade parts for more health and weight. So again, like I said, first thing, you're going to spend a lot of time in the shop and looking for the right parts, which can be a bit boring, but it's also part of the fun of knowing what right. And then second thing is testing out weapons. Like, you can actually do that. There is a AC test place. Like, oh, you can look statistically, okay, this one has not really good strength, it doesn't weigh a lot, doesn't waste energy. What could be the downside? You could go to AC test and be like, wow, this thing's fire rate is garbage. And I believe in Armored Core 4 they introduced that you can test parts before you buy them, so don't worry too much. So that's the second thing, is feel that you are going to do a lot of testing. So if you're not the kind of person that can pay too much attention or aren't tedious or don't feel like fidgeting with things, it might be a bit annoying. But that's one of the main things to get out the way. Second thing is that there is you are gonna have to put a lot of thought into like your missions. Think of it like a survival horror game, like Resident Evil. You are actually gonna have to pay attention a lot to your ammo. So if you're the kind of person that loves like conserving ammo, or really thinking hard about how to not just put an engagement like Far Cry, oh whatever, infinite ammo, like no, actively thinking about, oh, I cannot waste my magnum ammo, I have to abuse my handgun ammo, and you get satisfaction from like a clutch, like, oh my god, I didn't waste any bullets, or I barely got hit, then this is the game for you. But if you're the kind of person that found it annoying, you're always running out of like health, or you just want to go burr, then this game might not be for you. It's not for the brain dead. I mean, pretty sure by the customization alone that should establish that. You can have your brain dead burr moments like with the Gatling guns machine, but that becomes end game and when you do PvP, which comes to another thing to expect is arena. A lot of like robot versus robot fighting. Like, I should mention on the missions is, okay, now obviously we're talking about the single player. Expect a lot of expect half of the missions to not be the most interesting thing on earth. Armored Core focuses on immersion. Like, it is there to tell a story and make you feel like you live in that world, and it does an extremely good job. I mean, the fact you have so many options with your mech is living proof of that. And in some missions, straight up, you're like, oh, you just guard something. Sometimes nothing might even happen. Straight up, something so menial, but you get so distracted on like, oh my god, okay, cool, don't waste ammo. Even if it's like, oh, just guard this. Oh, there's 3 little robots, get them out the way. Then you focus so hard on optimizing that mission that you're like, then a boring mission, it's boring still, but it's not like brain dead boring. Like say something like in Skyrim, like a fetch quest or something like that. But also do expect your crazy cool moments like boss fight and whatever. And then in those, yeah. So basically, another thing is expect a lot of economy. That's the final thing that concludes with missions and the whole conservation. It's not just about saving bullets and your health. It's actually thinking economically. Like, you know what? This mission's kind of tough. I'm okay with maybe going a bit minus here, or using for this situation, because without it, or here's a good example. Some bullets cost more ammo than others, but for this mission, you're like, I know it's gonna be a tough mission. Let me go spend this extra money for rockets. And yes. And another thing is, like, the whole arena, going back to the PvP thing, is, yeah, that's where a lot of the cool stuff you want to do goes. And usually in arena, you don't have to worry about ammo or health. Just beat the opponent and you're good. But yes, also another thing to expect is expect all kinds of ranges for the combat. Ammo, yeah. But the main thing I want to get at is that expect all kinds of ranges. There will be things that can hit you from far away, things that are fast, things that are slow, from enemies and arena. And of course, there is the laser blade that is your close combat. but it is not the most reliable thing on earth. Like, you can make it work. Like, if you want to become like a dedicated laser dude, it's been confirmed it has arena, I heard. So that's gonna be nice. But yeah, like especially Armored Core 1 through 4, the sabers have always been garbage on purpose. Automata like it. I don't know anything about Nier Automata, so I can't say much about that. But yeah, so melee combat is not the focus. But here's the thing. If you want to, you can become a melee focused build if you have the skill and patience for it. So know that, like, everything in here for the most part, if you have enough skill and patience and passion, the trifecta, you can rock it however you want. You want to be a straight sniper build, go for it. Because at the end of the day, like I mentioned, both in arena and mission, you will have enemies that specifically are focused with that build. Just do know there are obviously inherent weaknesses, but as long as you can cater to that play, it's like a fighting game. Think of it, it's like a fighting game, actually. Sure, you can have a character that dies in 2 combos, but man, can they rush in and get out. And just, you know, just the same with a grappler, he might suck to get in, but man, if he grabs you once, bro, there goes half your health. Think of Armored Core as like that. It's like a fighting game in a sense. And a lot of the things are very self-balanced. Don't get me wrong, just like a fighting game, there are objectively really bad things. So expect that. Expect for the most part most things to work, but there will always be an outlier. There will always be one part that's just objectively worse than everything. So know that much. But also know that there is going to be a balance. Last thing to note is that, oh, I want to be fast and hit strong. You can be balanced. I mean, that's what I go for, but do know there is some consequence. Like, I'm pretty balanced. That means that I cannot have technically the fastest legs or the strongest ones, so I don't excel in either. I want to have a machine gun, but I can't get the best machine gun. You know, it's a balancing meter. Think of it like this. You can't have the best insert here without having these other parts that are a consequence. Like I said, the death machine is one of the best items to have, but good luck rocking that and being mobile if you don't have tank legs, which are very immobile. You know, again, it's almost like a fighting game. You can't have a command grab or a DP and also be a freaking a rushdown character. It's that kind of philosophy. So like I said, anyone knows fighting games, it'll get exactly what it is. But outside of that, yeah, also expect it to be kind of hard. Armored Core is not a very easy series, but if you're the kind of person that likes to let a lot of thought beforehand, it does help. It does help a lot. But most of the difficulty is more in the arena and the PvP, not so much the story. It is a game that I think with enough thought, anyone can beat, as long as you have at least a moderate, like, I think if you're a moderate gamer, and like I said, you're patient, you can beat it. It's totally beatable. And I believe there's also a hard mode. Exactly. Yeah, like I said, just like fighting games. It's like, yep. And outside of that, I bet that's the only thing I could say to expect. Like I said, there's a lot of numbers. If you got any other questions, same with chat. I think that should more or less round it up. What to expect from Armored Core. Also expect this game to just be sick. Like, expect some just buck wild amazing boss fights. I'll tell you guys that for sure. And some great PvP encounters. Like I said, the game has its boring points, but man, its highs are fucking amazing, you know? And PvP is not for everybody. Like I said, it's completely optional. Also expect no co-op. From what I've heard, there's no co-op in this game, sadly. 5 had it. Most Armored Core games, for the most part, have not. Like, also expect it to not play like the other ones I should mention. Also, story-wise, it has nothing to do with Armored Core beforehand. Armored Core 1 and 2, where 2 was a sequel to 1. After that, they never did that. Also, another thing to expect is probably going to be a spin-off for Armored Core 6. They've done this all the time, so that's something to expect. There are key elements that are not there. Like, good example, I'm playing 3. 2 and 3 have an overheating system. That no longer exists in 4 and 5. 6 is probably not going to have an overheating system. So nothing to expect. Expect 6 to have a unique mechanic that the other ones didn't. And it might scrap something that the other ones did. But retain, I'd say, 80% of Armored Core games retain a lot of what they've had, you know? But yeah, that's it. That's the best I could say, what to expect. I mean, if you want any recommendations, I would say look at Armored Core 4's trailer to see just like how cool the series is. And ever since after Armored Core 4, like, you know how you guys see like trailers for games and they don't live up to the hype kind of thing, especially like old school N64. Like, you look at the cover, it's like a badass chopper, but you play the game, it's some Atari triangle looking shit. Armored Core is one of the few series where the trailer absolutely represents the product. So I can tell you that for sure wholeheartedly as an Armored Core fan, that you see that shit in the trailer, that's some shit you're doing in the fucking game, bro. Like it's something they do really well after 3, man. I don't know. Again, Hardlock is a new thing. Yeah, that's another thing. But I think I'll wrap it up with the question I have in there. Is there any source material? And you can fire like 4 weapons at once. I don't know if you can, because in most Armored Core games, you can only fire 2. And then you can use a saber because fuck it, why not? But they might make that new. They might add it to 6. But from what I've known, you can only fire 2 at the same time. But you could also have a weapon that's technically like 6, you know? But yeah, that'll end it up here, you guys. again, expect if any questions, I'll feel free to answer like I'm answering right now in chat. So last thing I want to mention about the thing is aiming is not like traditional shooters where you, as long as you aim in there in the center, you shoot. No, there is actually a system AI where you have to keep the reticle over them, and the longer you hold it, the more accurate your robot is. So part of the Armored Core's meta is keeping sight on your character as much as possible. So to address our homies, thing is, lightweight builds will be really good at that, but you have to really excel at getting out of the corner of your enemy's sight and consistently making them have to readjust. But yeah, sorry to not mention one of the most core important things, that aiming is not like a traditional shooter. It is basically, let me aim at the opponent so my computer system can get a lock on it. And every weapon has this, even like single shot and even snipers. Just with the rockets, even if you stop aiming at them, they'll keep tracking them. And then from there, it's how mobile they are and what position they are to avoid said rockets. But yeah, sorry, that's the last minute thing to add, everyone.